खुदा में रज़वी हो।
Allah Almighty, by His divine grace and by His mercy, has granted the believers amongst the mankind a special excellence over everybody else. And this fadilat that the Muslims and the believers have is not because of their wealth, it is not because of any worldly possession, it is not because of any dunyawi status. It is because they believe in Allah and His beloved Rasul sallallahu alaihi wasallam. This is why Allah has given them and given us excellence over everybody else. But Allah has given you and given me and given all of us who believe in Him as He has commanded us to believe, and who believe in His Rasul sallallahu alaihi wasallam as He has commanded us to believe. Allah has given us this fadilat and this maqam and this excellence. And as I said, it's not because of some power or some strength or some finance or some property that you own. It is because of your iman. It is because of believing in Allah and His Rasul sallallahu alaihi wasallam. And you can see the beautiful example of this. If you observe carefully, you will see the example of this most beautifully in the time of Rasulullah sallallahu alaihi wasallam. You will see it in the zaman of the beloved Rasul sallallahu alaihi wasallam. You will see that Bilal Habashi, Hazrat Sayyiduna Bilal Habashi radiallahu anhu, whose wisal was on the 20th of this month as well. You will see that Hazrat Sayyiduna Bilal Habashi radiallahu ta'ala anhu was being dragged on the burning sands of Arabia. Huge boulders were put on his chest. Firstly, to put a boulder on somebody's chest is taklif. It's torture. But they didn't put just normal boulders on his chest. They put boulders that were smoldering hot on his chest. They gave him this taklif that while lying on the burning sands of Arabia would heated boulders on his chest. Hazrat Sayyiduna Bilal Habshi radiallahu anhu was the most exalted amongst all of them there. Allah gave him excellence, although he did not have clothing on his body, he did not have any wealth, he did not have anything, he was being persecuted. But the status that was granted to him is such that he will enter Jannatul Firdaus in the shade of the beloved Rasul sallallahu ta'ala alayhi wa sallam. That is why Ala Hazrat Azimul Barakat radiallahu anhu said, कि जाए जब तक ना गुलाम खुल्द है सब पर हराम. जाए जब तक ना गुलाम खुल्द है सब पर हराम. मिल्क है तो आपका तुम पे करोड़ों दुरूद. This can be understood in two ways, this couplet of Ala Hazrat. That until the ghulams of Rasulullah, the ummah of Rasulullah sallallahu alaihi wasallam do not enter Jannah, nobody can enter. Because Jannat is the property of Rasulullah sallallahu alaihi wasallam. Understand? Jannat is the property, it is owned by Rasul Pak. Allah has given him Jannat. That is why Jannat itself is sacrificed upon the feet of Rasulullah sallallahu alaihi wasallam. So Hazrat Sayyidina Bilal, the share of Allah Hazrat, because I mentioned it, the jai jab tak na ghulam khuld hai sab par haram, milk hai to aapka tum pe karoro durud. Until the ummah does not enter Jannah, nobody can go because this is your property, it is in your control. Ya Rasulullah sallallahu alaihi wasallam. But another meaning is that here the slave, the true slave, not the slave of the dunya, refers to Hazrat Bilal. that he will enter with Rasulullah sallallahu alaihi wasallam. Until he doesn't go, none of us can go in. He was lying on that burning sand of Arabia. He was being persecuted. He was being given taklif. He was being beaten. He was being stoned. But look, Allah gave him that fadilat. That all those that were there, those that were persecuting him were more in number. They were more wealthy. They were more powerful. They had everything. But Bilal was greater and is greater than all of them. Allah gave him the greater fazilat, isn't it? What is the reason for that there? Because his belief in Allah and his iman in the beloved Rasul sallallahu ta'ala alayhi wasallam. You know, when you look at the dunya today, I just mentioned this last week sometime when I was in Amsterdam, that if you look at anything in the dunya, look, status, everybody, the dunya is running behind status today. Everybody is looking for taqat and power. Everybody is looking for a platform. Everybody is looking to become famous. Is it not happening? Look around you. Everything is about this. But in reality, मिटा दो अपने हस्ती को अगर कुछ मर्तबा चाहे. मिटा दो अपने हस्ती को अगर कुछ मर्तबा चाहे कि दाना खाक में मिलकर गुले गुजार. If you really want status, if you really want excellence, then destroy yourself. In other words, die before your death. What does it mean? Not go commit suicide. Don't do this. No, what does it mean? It means kill your nafs. Humble yourself. Believe that you are nothing. You are the lowest in Allah's servants. When you do that, then like a seedling is planted in the ground and it decays and it rots and it germinates, but when it comes back above the ground, it comes out as a rose. If you want to stand with honor in the court of Almighty Allah on Maidan al-Mahshar, then we must destroy our inner self, our nafs, the nafs ammara that is taking us towards guna, which is taking us towards all the wrong things that we do in our life. This is our inner desire that is doing this. The desire for power, the desire for name, the desire for fame. And I said this before, that you find that because you are standing high, you are the most important one. You are standing tall, you are the most important one. Why? Because my enemies and those that are weaker than me are below me. I am the more important one. It doesn't work like that always. It doesn't always work with the policy and the ideology that the one who is standing is victorious and the one who is on the ground is the one that has lost. It doesn't work that way always. Look, this is the month of Muharram. I think for 10 nights, Sabisa was giving you a little bit about the Waqiyat of Muharram. Everywhere you go, we are discussing Muharram. When the battle of Karbala happened, and when Sayyidina Ali Maqam Imam Husayn radiallahu anhu was martyred on the 10th of Muharram 61 Hijri. Then Hazrat Sayyidina Imam Husayn was on the ground and his head was split from his Mubarak body. Hazrat Imam Husayn was on the ground and his head was split from his Mubarak body. And Shimr and all those Mukhalifin were standing above him with the swords in their hand. Tell me, who was victorious? The one standing or the one who gave his head in sajda? The one who gave his head in sajda. Imam Hussain was the successful one. He was the victorious one. And he is the one that got the maqam that 1400 years later, 1300 some odd years later, people are still saying the name of Imam Hussain radiallahu anhu. They are still honoring him. Tell somebody today, keep your name Yazid, keep your child's name Yazid. Nobody wants to keep it. But count the Hussains in the dunya. You'll get tired, you won't be able to count. What is the reason for that then? That Allah gives fazilat to whom He wills. Allah gives this maqam to whom He wills. He gave a fazilat to Sayyidina Imam Hussain radiallahu anhu in that category that is second to none. Nobody could reach that maqam again that he's been blessed to Hazrat Sayyidina Imam Hussain. So the gist of the discussion today is that Allah has given us a status in our dunya, in our lives. He has given us His excellence. But what has happened to us? The question. What has happened to us that we are not taking the true responsibility of preserving and protecting that excellence which Allah gave us? This is the question that we need to ask. What is the reason for that? Why is it you will find, if you go back into the books of history, you will find in every zamana, there were those who were willing to sacrifice their lives. They were willing to sacrifice their wealth. They were willing to be treated as badly as people could. They were willing to be persecuted. But they were not willing to leave the path of righteousness. What was the reason for that? Because they understood and realized the value of that responsibility and that maqam which Allah gave the believers. So they stood for it in every zaman. Today what has happened? Your status, which one is our status? The one we put on WhatsApp. And even that sadly shows the status of some people. It shows the status of some people. You put up all the haram things there sometimes. Man is putting his wife and his daughters dressed like the kuffar. They say that is your status. That is your status. Can you say what you are saying? You are actually saying that is my status. That is my hal, that is my condition. But if you put the Gumbad Khazra of Rasulullah sallallahu alaihi wasallam, if you put the mazar of Hazrat Sayyidina Ghaus Azam Jilani radiallahu anhu, even the world will say that that's that person's status. He's the ashik of the awliya of the court of Almighty Allah. Today we are looking for status in a very negative manner. We are not realizing that this dunya will perish one day. And everything in this dunya will go away. Nothing will be left. Nothing will be left. But when Allah wills, and everybody rise again, then you will see where status comes from. When the world comes to an end, only Allah Wahid Hakiki. Then when Allah rises everybody again, then the beloved Rasul sallallahu alaihi wasallam said, I will be the first to rise. Beloved Rasul sallallahu alaihi wasallam said, I will be the first to rise, and with me will rise Abu Bakr and Umar. I will be the first to rise, and with me will rise Abu Bakr and Umar, and those that are resting in Jannatul Baqi. Abu Bakr and Umar and those who are resting in Jannatul Baqi. Allah's Nabi is telling you that Allah gave this status, that in the kainat there is nobody like Muhammad Rasulullah sallallahu alaihi wasallam. For when everything becomes fana and khatam, then the first to rise will be Allah's beloved Nabi sallallahu alaihi wasallam, and with him will rise his two ambassadors, Abu Bakr and Umar radiallahu anhu. This is for us to understand status. If you want to get an excellence, and if I want to get status, and if you want to be recognized, see, the dunya only recognizes you temporarily. Let's be honest. Okay? You can do whatever you want for people in the dunya. Okay, I'm going to talk current. If I'm wrong, say you're wrong. You can bend backwards in our language. You can do whatever you want for the ones that you love the most also. You can do whatever you want for your friends also. You can do whatever you want for your partner also in business. But at the end of the day, is there loyalty today? Allah. What is the hal today? What is the condition today? Is it appreciated? Except for very few, those who Allah gave tawfiq. Is it appreciated? Is it honored? Is it respected? No, except for few, whom Allah has given this tawfiq. And what is the reason for that? Because everything in the dunya is by the way. Today the person will tap your shoulder and say, Hafiz Sahab, MashaAllah. They'll go out the next day and say, this Hafiz Sahab bekar aadmi hai. Hota hai ki nahi? The person, you will go out of your way to do something for them, And 2 days later the person will say, but what have they done for me? Hota ke nahi hota? What is the reason for this? Have we ever gone into the depths of this? What is the reason for this? The reason for this is because you or that person by themselves personally does not value the ni'mats of Allah. If you value the bounties and the ni'mats of Allah, you will not do that. You will make shukr. You will say, because my excellence and my status is based such that Allah has given somebody that will assist me in my time of need. Allah has given somebody who will show some affection towards me. Allah has given somebody who will do this and this and this for me. But people don't think this way. Hence, this dunya will perish. And everything in it will perish. And whatever you and I will do is temporarily appreciated in the dunya. After that, everything is forgotten. But subhanallah, when the time everybody will leave you. When the time everybody will leave you, they will forget about your worldly status. They will forget about the thousands that you left them. They will forget about the cars that you bought for them. They will forget about the buildings that you constructed for them. You will say, where is my excellence? Where is the status that I used to have once you put him 6 feet into the ground? Where is his status? Who cares about it? But subhanallah, sacrifice may be upon the maqam and the fazilat of the beloveds of Allah. That when we put them into that zameen, then those above the zameen are coming towards that zameen. The people are going towards them to attain their blessings, because Allah gave them excellence here because they humbled themselves. And He gave them excellence in the hereafter, which you and I cannot even understand. The true excellence and status and maqam is when we stand on Maidan al-Mahshar. When we stand before our Creator Almighty Allah. And then at that time we are fortunate to be amongst those whom the beloved Rasul sallallahu alaihi wasallam will come and take in his dam and rahmat and make shafa'at for you and enter you into Jannat al-Firdaus. Then you know that you preserve that excellence which Allah gave you in the dunya. Then you know you preserve. It's a very simple and basic discussion I'm giving you today. For us to understand that why do we fail so often? Why do we fail so often? Why is it that we continue complaining that I'm doing this but it's not successful? I'm trying to do this but I'm not managing to do it. Because we have started to put our excellence and our status before everything. We have forgotten that we are slaves of the court of the beloved Rasul sallallahu alaihi wasallam. We are the servants of Almighty Allah. When you are becoming conscious, and you do become conscious of this reality, then what happens? Then what happens? A young boy who traveled from Gilan to Baghdad becomes Abdul Qadir Jilani. He becomes the king of all the awliya Allah. A person that used to be dragged on the burning sands of Arabia and who used to be beaten and persecuted becomes the Imam of the believers till Qiyamah Bilal. How do you get this? Because of them not looking at the dunya. This is the mistake, and I'm ending with this. This is the mistake that we all make, is we look at our success in the dunya to characterize ourselves, to label ourselves. We don't need anybody to do it anymore. We do it ourselves. But we base it on the dunya. Base it on whether this dunya will benefit you in the akhirat. Look at your akhirat. Before you go there, try to visualize yourself there. And look at your entire life up to today. And think what this is going to do to me there. Think about it. If you think about this, you and I will stop the wrongs that we are doing. We will stop disrespecting our mothers and fathers. We will stop behaving obscenely. Those who are committing zina will stop committing zina. Those who are gambling will stop gambling. And those who don't even remember the word istighfar and tawbah in their lives will start making tawbah. We need to ask forgiveness from Allah and make istighfar day and night if you want to leave this dunya with the status of a true believer. Otherwise your dunya too will be barbad and your akhirat too. Keep this in mind. It is a simple discussion I gave you today. But this discussion was to remind myself and remind you that this dunya is only a temporary place. The excellence, the status which Allah gave you here, preserve that deeni status if you want to get status in the akhirah. Otherwise your dunya is going to go and your akhirat is going to go. Allah keep us with iman. Those who are in now, commit Allah grant them shifa.